that Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Now, Jeff mentioned the fact that you're living lifetime after lifetime, and I've mentioned that too. And we're not attacking Scientology's beliefs. They can believe anything that they want. They just can't behave any way that they desire. And one of the byproducts of believing that you've lived millions of lifetimes in Scientology is that they believe that children are really, ageless beings, and they can be plucked away from their families at a very young age and put to work. And our next speaker faced that very thing when she was recruited at an extraordinarily young age to work for Scientology. And if you would, please welcome Laura DeCrescenzo.
Yes, you guys. In what world can we explain these Scientology parents who definitely take it upon themselves to buy with money a pitch from an indicted felon that told them that it would be a very great idea to dehumanize children, to strip children of their actual reality. And all of this accommodating and all of this capitulating and all of these laundering of what in the hell is actually happening, about how it can be your religious belief to think that a child is an adult. Well, isn't that interesting? I'm sure that every last person that has been fully convicted of crimes against children definitely right about now want to take it upon themselves to call up their lawyer and say, yo, I heard that all I have to do in order to not be facing criminal charges about my abuse of children is to say that I'm a Scientologist. And as a Scientologist, I can just believe that a child is an adult in small body. And I'm sure that the jails would start emptying, because we either have laws in this country that says no one is above the law, or we don't have laws and we just have convenient preferential treatment to accommodate to whatever in the hell people want to do to children. It was that simple, you guys. All Ron Hubbard had to do was type a memo and say, children are hereby adults in small bodies. Who wants to buy my books? And all of our parents lined up. All of our parents started throwing accolades at Ron Hubbard. All of our parents were absolutely pressed for the approval, for the fake AF accolades that they were getting from people inside the hotel that were wearing ridiculous clown uniforms. Uniforms that are a complete and utter insult to actual military servicemen and women. But apparently there has been no joke played at the expense of anybody that this US government will react to. These people can play, trivialize, and literally piss all over the military. And the government couldn't care any less. They just are so pressed to allow these people to do whatever in the hell they want. Apparently, all it takes is a few celebrities, and you are in like Flynn. Right, Ghislaine Maxwell? Right, Jeffrey Epstein? Right, everyone in Scientology that is also in this whole like celebrity, let's get all the celebrities together and do stuff together and nobody will find out a shred of a thing, because it's not like child trafficking actually takes place in luxury hotels. It's not like power celebrities could help themselves to child slaves in Florida, in California, in Kansas City, in New York. Shout out to all the orgs that took it upon themselves to recruit kids, while y'all, like infantile, whatever that you are, decided to go all in on the fake AF dumb pitch. Children are not adults in small bodies. Children are the age they are in that body. Period.
Thank you. As he mentioned, I joined the Sea Org actually when I was 12 years old. I was actually born into Scientology, but both of my parents were Scientologists and had been doing courses in Scientology in Portland, Oregon. And I actually did my first course when I was about 6 or 7 years old and signed my first contract, the billion-year contract that was mentioned, at the age of 7 or 8.
At the age of 7 or 8. And doesn't that make sense, you guys? Literal infantile adults that went around like bumbling idiots, all collectively pretending that children are adults. These adults didn't see a shred of a problem of putting literally contracts. Oh, don't you want to sign a billion-year contract? Aren't you 5 years old? But you're just a, adult in a small body. You can sign it. You're that powerful. You're a big being. You're a big Thetan. You're probably from another lifetime wanting to come back to the Sea Org. That's why you're here. It's not like you didn't choose your parents. You are a Thetan that chose this for themselves. Sign here at 5 years old. And then let's get you on a project prepare to make sure that you arrive. Let's make sure. And what in the hell is a project prepare? You guys, is a list of actions that we literally, kid you not, these child traffickers take it upon themselves to write program by program, line by line. What do we need to do to acquire you? And they make the children believe that they are fully in on the joke. They make the children believe that they want to do this for themselves because, repeat for the 10th gazillion trillionth time, if adults are calling kids adults in small bodies, why would it raise a shred of a red flag that children are being made to sign binding contracts, no lawyer present? For as much as Scientology is pressed to make sure that there is not a single definition of a single reference from Ron Hubbard that you don't understand, guess where these child traffickers are not pressed to make sure that a child understands? Bingo. They don't give a shred if a child understands the words in the legal schmeagle contract that they put in front of them. Here's a bunch of legal schmeagle, but you know what? You don't need to know any of that. Who cares? The law's stupid. The law's so stupid. They're all pathetic. They don't know what Ron Hubbard is doing. They don't know what we're doing. They don't know what they're missing on. So quickly just sign here. Yeah. Just come to the Sea Org. You're going to love it. It's going to be amazing. Let's see what Laura tells us, how amazing it was for her.
I started working in an organization in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the age of 9. I got a worker's permit somehow. I don't even know how I managed to do this, but when I was 10, I got a worker's permit and was getting paid peanuts for, working usually about 30 to 40 hours a week.
30 to 40 hours a week, you guys. Can anybody in the comments that's literally listened to this abomination of glorified child slave trafficking, of state-sanctioned child trafficking at scale, minors from Albuquerque being brought in, minors from Juarez being brought in, Mexico, minors from Sydney, Australia being brought in, minors from Paris, France being brought in, minors from London in the UK being brought in. And see how it worked for the minors, you guys? We thought we were so cool. We were so international. This couldn't be a wide-ranging criminal racketeering scheme, because how could it be that if every single country is sending people to do what we're doing? And how could we really be a wide-ranging criminal racketeering scheme if all manner of celebrities keep visiting us and saying what's up? And we couldn't be more proud of being their slaves. We could not be more proud of being tapped to go be slaves for, Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Christy Alley, all manner of ridiculous infantile adults that want to be treated as children. That's who these Scientology celebrities are, you guys. Infantile adults that don't want to be adults, that want to be goo-goo gaga, that want to be cradled and canoodled, that want to be told all day how amazing they are and aren't they so special, non-stop ad nauseum. It literally makes us vomit.
Was about 12 when I joined the Sea Org. The person who came to Albuquerque to recruit me basically promised all of these things that seemed great to my parents. So somehow they convinced them to let me go, which meant I moved to Los Angeles. They included things like...
And shout out to all of the pathetic people that man up law enforcement, that still in this year 2023, you guys, despite Ms. DeCrescenzo going on the public record and discussing the unthinkable, the fact that she was transported across state lines as a 12-year-old with her parents thinking, you know what would be a great idea? To sit here with this person from Florida, this person from California that is pitching us all manner of ways of why it would be convenient to have our daughter taken away from us. They made it so easy. They made it so simple. It was all just a scribble away for our parents to gain financial independence of, including but not limited to, their 12-year-old daughters, like Miss DeCrescenzo, including but not limited to me. So the accounts are all over the public record. And America has sat here purporting it has laws, purporting that there is a human trafficking law that's supposed to protect modern day child slavery from running rampant. But apparently, what America is definitely missing is not the law, is anyone that has a shred of balls, a shred of eyesight, a shred of scruples to actually GTS a couple of things, because there couldn't be more information already. There couldn't be more people that have come forward to denounce the atrocities that are taking place in those hotels 24/7. The atrocities that happen as a result of full-grown adult men and women who bought the pitch from indicted, convicted felon in absentia, Ron Hubbard, that it was in their best interest to infantilize themselves and conversely to adulticize the kids. And the IRS commissioner could not found that pitch any more religious if they tried. The IRS commissioner is so happy that America is so free that literally still in this year 2023, children are plucked out of their homes to go and be worked over to death in these disgusting child trafficking state-sanctioned hotels that are nothing but a front for full-blown corruption and nothing but full evidence on the record for everyone to see that the government of the United States loves child slaves. In this year 2023, the government of these United States, you guys, applauds child slavery, applauds entrepreneurs like high school dropout Marty Rathbun and David Miscavige, who did take it upon themselves to go rescue Ron Hubbard out of the gutter, given that he did have $1 billion tax bill that Ron Hubbard didn't want to pay up on. So little Mr. High School Dropout Entrepreneur of the Year, David Miscavige, and Marty Rathbun, and God knows who else there in RTC, that was so goo-goo gaga for Ron Hubbard that they couldn't miss the opportunity to really solidify Ron Hubbard's BS, disgusting memos from hell, that all they ever did was pitch, be a degenerate and have no consequences, be a full-blown entitled narcissist that wants to abuse kids. But don't see it like that. Just say that you want to clear the planet. Just say you want to help the people. Just say that you want to say all the other BS, platitude, whatevers that they use to say that they're a 501c and that, everyone should stand outside of those hotels doing nothing because, once again, the stupidity of the United States courts, you guys, could not be any more obvious or evident. Because we're still waiting for the day that any judge of these United States can come to us. This stupid high school dropout child trafficking kids that I represent myself, since I didn't even finish 7th grade. Why in the hell nothing is making sense? Nothing is adding up, because I did take it upon myself, you guys, to study the human trafficking laws, to study the child trafficking laws, to see if there was any possible chance that having my passport locked up, that having me work to death, that having me be an auditor for adults, doing disgusting interrogations in a hotel room while all of these adults watch me do it, praised me, told me like, my God, you're such a great auditor, Serge. You know what you're going to get for interrogating that man and having him admit that he's been, you know, committing all type of self-admitted class A felonies on his daughters. You get a very well done. They would grade us. They would tell us, very well done. You have done amazing. You're clearing the planet. You're doing so much for the planet. The planet is so much better off now that you floated away the self-admitted felonies of that man you just were interrogating. And, you know, you confront evil just so well. That's what they told us to do, guys. Confront evil, confront evil. Well, you know what? We were not confronting jack nothing. We were practicing law without a license. We were asking questions. We had no right, no education, and no purpose to know. Why in the hell did I needed to know at 14 years old if somebody had committed a felony for which they had not been arrested? IRS commissioner. When you can start making sense of that, and you know, Cece Monique Yingling, go ask your friend Monique Yingling, that tax attorney that you took at her word that this was a 501(c), the attorney that you took her BS pitch that they were really interested in helping save a world. How in the hell are you saving a world by abusing minors at scale? That would be a very good essay for you to write in your legal schmiegel, Monique. Try to put it in your legal schmiegel that you learned at that university you went to, and see in this year 2023, you can tap some of those, you know, English legal classes that you're going to have to really tap into to start making sense of the racketeering scam you got going on with all of those child traffickers that apparently you are clueless about what's going on with Debbie Cook. You are clueless about what's going on with Dave Pettit, the one that traffics the children here in Los Angeles. You couldn't know a shred of a thing. You're so out of the loop, right, Monique? You don't know anything. You've never been. You want to also be very respectful, right? Or wrong?
I would continue my schooling. I would be able to have kids when I got older, and, you know, I'd be able to have kids and move back to Albuquerque, or I would do what was called the bridge to total freedom. As other people had mentioned, I would get all of that for free because I was working for them. All of my medical and dental expenses, which at the age of 12, as you can imagine, most kids have cavities, have, you know, dental work that needs to be done. I'd be able to go home and visit my parents even up to once a month if I wanted to because of my age. All of these promises were made, and it was made to seem like something that was going to be a wonderful experience. Unfortunately, most of those all turned out to be completely and utterly false.
Guys, nothing but false pitches is what these recruiters gave us. They promise you the moon and the stars. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Never mind that everything they're pitching you as a kid doesn't register, as these people want to pitch me BS that is definitely not in my best interest, right? Because it was never in our best interest to be acquired by these child traffickers. Trust me, that was never any child's best interest being looked into. And that's why, even including but not limited to Ms. DeCrescenzo's parents, just like mine, just like Jenna's, just like every last Scientology parent that took it upon themselves to sign up their kid, that took it upon themselves to reap the financial rewards and freedoms that came from emancipating themselves, from having to take care of their kids. So they really had a lot more money and cash available to see themselves up a bridge that crosses apparently to freedom. But, you know, in this year 2023, we are really questioning if that bridge isn't really meant to directly cross these people from innocent until proven guilty all the way to unindicted, convicted felon, soon to be, if the laws were to be enforced, if the law was to be taken seriously, if any single person that is being tapped to enforce laws, that is being tapped to make sure illegal, rampant abuse of minors is not just festering all over downtown Clearwater, all over Sunset Boulevard, and all over the other states where the scourge of child trafficking has been state sanctioned to flourish and prosper without a shred of consequences. That's what we have in America, you guys. That's all we have. No matter how many taxes you pay, no matter how much you try to think you live in a country of laws, America has no laws when it comes to kids. America doesn't give a shred of an F about enforcing those laws. If those kids live to tell, they won't even have statutes of limitations to fall back into. They'll figure out another way why it's very inconvenient to open a case for any last kid that was trafficked. Oh yeah, it sucks to be you, but you know what? Better luck next lifetime.
Because I was 12, I was considered what I was very qualified. I had no life. As I'm sure you can imagine, most 12-year-olds go to school, play video games, and don't really have any history that would make them unqualified for what they considered the higher organizations in the Sea Organization. In fact, one of the things that they make you do when you're in the Sea Org is they fill out what's called a life history form. It's about 8 pages of extremely personal questions, everything from every medication you've ever taken to any drugs you've taken, every date you've ever gone on, every sexual experience you've ever had in great detail. And then they put you on an e-meter, their lie detector, basically, to verify that you're telling the truth. And at 12, my life history had nothing. It was a bunch of no, 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 no. So I was like considered prime pickings for them.
We would love to hear from other HR departments that don't think it's weird to have a form where you are asking minors all manner of inappropriate, illegal, HIPAA violation type questions. Like, are you taking any medication? Do you have any medical problems? When was the last time you went to the doctor? What did the doctor want to know? Do you have any physical conditions that are chronic? What hospitals have you visited? Why did you visit them? When did you visit them? Who was your doctor then? What did they say? What did they prescribe? Have you ever had any mental problems? What was the mental problem? What was the psychotic break? What was the psychotic? So if that's not a HIPAA law violation from people that completed a 2-week course at a hotel, we would love to hear from the State Bar Association of Florida, who could not be more toothless or pathetic if they tried to be toothless and pathetic. the State Bar of California, who has allowed these people to run that form on minors. I guess just because our parents thought that was a great idea to violate all our rights. Because you know what? Our parents liked to have their rights, violated. They were in on the fraud. They thought it was a great idea. I mean, some of us, our parents are still in there, doing the same old thing without a shred of remorse, without a shred of like, oh my God, sorry, that was back in the 70s. And, I had no scruples then, but, I have them back now. And, we really have to stop the scourge of what we all were a part of. There's crickets coming from the Scientology parents, you guys. That's all we ever hear. Crickets. Making it all about themselves, making it all about, oh, but I thought Ron Hubbard this, and wasn't I such a big OT? With that same straight face of telling themselves that they were an OT. They refuse to go to a mirror and check with themselves. They don't even have to go get a sec check. They can just go check themselves and see if they have a spine and see if they child traffic their own kid. Because those would be very, very, very good questions for all Scientology parents, current and exes, to really start asking yourselves. How many kids did you donate to the Sea Org? And then what are the child trafficking laws? And then what type of financial rewards did you get as a result of dumping how many kids inside those hotels? And then who exactly did you make the deal inside the hotel? What executive told you? What recruiter told you that child trafficking, coercing, defrauding? We just see Ms. DeCrescenzo went down the list of false promises. Oh, you're going to get this, you're going to get that, you're going to get blah. And then she was transported across state lines. You guys, I mean, it's almost like these people went down the business model of how to child traffic, and they make sure they checked off every last aspect of how to really commit that crime. I guess because they knew that they would never be called out for it, because, all the children that they were child trafficking would never stand a chance to learn the law, would never stand the chance. They were too stupid. We were such idiots. We were so gullible. We were so influenceable. We were so naive. We bought every last shred of fake AF pitch that was given to us, since we did see a pitch from people that, ran around in cosplaying clown uniforms that looked official, that looked authoritative. Clown uniforms that they got out of some Army Surplus place. I mean, these people literally were wearing clown costumes. And it's them who are the full-blown joke today, not us, who they duped.
Not to mention the fact that at 12, your mind's basically an open slate. You can be programmed however they want you to be.
And yeah, you guys, she's right. At 12, at 14, at 15, at 16, at 17, at 18, some would say even 19, some would say even 20, 21. You're gullible, you are influenceable, you are a blank slate. And make no mistake about these people, you guys. They knew who they needed to target. There were definitely adults that definitely would be like, I will never join the Sea Org. Don't even ask me. Will not happen. Nope, nope, nope. They didn't join. That's all that ended up happening. So plenty of adults out there that looked at that style and said, you know what? Not for me, but you know what? I'll go get serviced by the slaves. I will pay for slaves to service me. But I just don't want to be a slave. But I want to be a slave master. So if y'all just want to offer me a way to get into the hotel by just, paying my way to slaves, then it's okay. Then all bets are off. But if you want me to be a slave, I'm an adult and I'm going to say no, and I'm not going to be recruited. So there isn't that many people in the Sea Org, guys, because plenty of the people that see what gets done to the Sea Org people say, no, never mind. I don't want to do it. Prime example of that, my parents. They were influential. They did join the Sea Org when I was in Mexico, and they were so young themselves. Like early 20s, my parents. But then, later on in their life, they were like, oh no, we would never join the Sea Org again. That's just not for us. It's not for us. Maybe next lifetime. But you know what? This lifetime, we just want to go up the bridge and do the OT levels. So highlighting and circling in red a billion times the level of narcissism that these parents from two sides of their mouths would want their child to be enslaved, and they get the brownie points for having enslaved them, but they didn't want to do the heavy lifting themselves. Plenty of public parents stayed outside of the hotel while their kid was given to Dave Pettit, given to Angie Blankenship, given to Lori Englehart, given to Debbie Cook, given to Shelley Miscavige, given to Jenny DeVock Linson, given to Supishay Gentry, given to Marty Rathbun, all manner of executives that were definitely very happy they were gaining access to us. Trust me, they couldn't have been more excited about it. And they couldn't have told us that themselves, for themselves. Accolades galore, love bombing, the likes of which makes us want to literally bomb it.
So I joined the Sea Org. I left my parents and moved to Los Angeles. As I mentioned, pretty much everything that they had promised me was a lie. I didn't continue my schooling hardly at all. I would go once a week maybe with no trained teacher. And then it came to visiting my parents. Here I am, 12 years old. I wanted to go home and see my parents for a weekend. My first visit home was a complete and utter nightmare. Was supposed to leave on a plane, and within a few hours of the plane leaving, I was told that I couldn't leave unless I had gone on their e-meter and done a security check. And I was like, well, my mom has bought me a non-refundable ticket. How am I supposed to do this? I'm supposed to leave in a couple hours. They said, well, you can't. If you do, you're going to be subject to justice when you come back. That basically means that my position in the organization that I was in would be negated. It meant a lot of things to when you're in the Sea organization. A justice action is considered scary.
And yes, you guys, these people were going around telling us we're going to get indicted. It was the equivalent of being indicted. You're going to get a COMEV for blowing. You're going to get a suppressive person declare. You're going to get a lower condition. You're going to get in ethics trouble. You're going to get, demoted on your post. You're going to get busted out of your post. I mean, if you can only imagine literally she left without permission, so she's now busted. She got busted to the galley. She got busted to go do mess work. She got busted to go wash dishes. So we were actually, in fact, indicted by people that completed 2-week courses at a hotel. And it wasn't a joke. When Mr. Crescenzo's telling us here that at 12 years old, the first time she's trying to go home from LA to another state, because, 12-year-olds should really be flying across state lines, right, FBI? Right? Child Protective Services. It's not like your airports are capable of spotting a shred of child trafficking, because the airports in America, you guys, could not be any less secure and any more pathetic. There's not been a single case of child trafficking going into Scientology hotels that any shred of police or law enforcement at the Tampa Bay International Airport has been willing or capable to stop. And trust me, I landed in that airport at a very young age. And trust me, there was no security. So this literal child trafficking is rampant for a reason. It's not just happening because nobody knew anything and it's just a big fluke.
Anyway, so I was like, okay, well, how am I supposed to do this? I'm supposed to get on this plane. My mom, you don't mess with my mom's money. You know what I mean? This is a non-refundable ticket. So I said, okay, I'm going to go anyway. So I actually went to the complex where I had my birthing at the time. I had gone from the HDB over to the complex, and I got into the super shuttle in the horseshoe of the complex, and security actually came out and physically prevented me from leaving. I had locked the door because I saw somebody from security coming. I was freaking out. I was like, I have to go. And he reached in and unlocked the door, opened the door, preventing the super shuttle from leaving. So from the very beginning, you can see it was taught to me that you don't mess with them. They're going to keep you here, even if you don't want to be there.
From the very, very, very beginning, you guys, that's what we were taught. You don't mess with them. They will send security after you. They will send degenerates that will have no problem physically restraining a child from leaving their disgusting hotel racketeering scam. So the security force is one of the main enforcers of the child trafficking. So let's make sure that's now very clear for the pathetic media that attended this exact conference, this press conference, that apparently didn't learn a shred of a thing at that press conference. Because yet again, you guys, it's not like we couldn't be more useless and we couldn't be more worse bad communicators that the world has ever heard, because Ms. De Crescenzo is really not making any sense, right? She's not clear. She doesn't know how to speak. She couldn't have all of her facts completely confused. She couldn't sound more bigoted, like she really wants to be a bigot, right? That's how they projected everything back to us. You're a bigot. You don't like it here? How dare you? You don't like being abused? Why not? You don't want us to physically stop you? Well, we can, because we owned you. You are ours. So stop being a bank. Stop being a case. Stop being a suppressive and get in line. That was the drill that kids were being run on. So when every last shred of Scientology parent can write to us a pitch, an essay of how in the hell this is a religious experience that you are all having at the expense of the children that you are abducting in those hotels to either be serviced as a public from slaves or to recruit slaves so you can police the slave masters that you're signing up for your courses, signing up for your ethics, signing up for your audits. When every last shred of staff member in there can take it upon themselves to write that essay and see if it makes sense, see if there is a way to make it make sense, by all means, publish that shit. But until then, we're calling complete and utter bullshit on your clownery, on your entitlement, on your false sense of entitlement, on your reckless negligence at best, and your willing criminal conspirator relationship that y'all have going for yourselves, given that you're all into doing this to minors at scale, no less.
And anyway, I ended up catching the plane about 24 hours later. And it was on a flight that was arranged by them. Here I am, 12 years old. I left LAX at about 11 p.m. at night with an hour layover in Las Vegas, Nevada. As a mother now myself, I cringe at the thought, because here I am, 12 years old in Las Vegas airport in the middle of the night, arriving in Albuquerque at 3 a.m. Anyway, pretty much every time I wanted time off, it became a similar thing. It was a nightmare every single time. I ended up getting married at 16. In the Sea Org, that's very common, because you really can't do anything physically with the person that you're dating or whatever until you're married.
And yes, you guys, very, very, very common practice in these hotels to have minors get married. And, you know, what Mr. Crescenzo's talking about here, about how we couldn't do anything and that's why we had to get married. They would force us to get married. There was no choice. You couldn't experience your sexuality. You couldn't discover it for yourself. You couldn't even understand what in the hell sexuality was. People went from 0 to 100 MF quick. And some of these minors were married off to adults. And some of these minors were transported across state lines to Las Vegas, Nevada, because over there, apparently it was legal. Without a shred of oversight, people could obtain that marriage license. And the only reason anyone in those hotels gave a shred of an F about the marriage license is so they could skirt the very real laws about having relationships with underage kids. So when any last shred of Scientology parent can make sense to us today in this year 2023, why in the literal hell you're still running around with this BS pitch about how all of these kids are just adults in small bodies, let us know. Or when you actually want to get your ethics in for reals and not for some BS condition that some minor is going to approve in a hotel, and then you're going to tell yourself that you're free of a felony, do it in real life. Write your overs and your withholds. Turn them into the FBI. Turn them into the Crimes Against Children unit. Cut yourself a deal with the prosecutor's office. Tell them that Ron Hubbard told you to do everything you did, and then beg for mercy. Beg. Literally get on your literal knees and stay there begging for mercy for what you've done. That's what you all need to do. Scientology parents, deadbeat parents that put your children, how dare you, what Ms. Crescenzo just went through with us.
And I got married, and I'd wanted kids. I'd said that when I joined the Sea Org, I was planning on having children. And I'm about to talk to you about something that is extremely personal, but I'm
So we're going to get to part 2, you guys. We've seen enough of this part for right now. We reacted to it, but what did we learn today with Miss DeCrescenzo's press conference that did happen nearly a decade ago or more, discussing in plain view for all those reporters that didn't have a shred of a red flag come up with the trafficking and moving of minors across state lines, because apparently there were no laws on the books in America even a decade ago to consider the very real case of systemic child trafficking in those hotels. So we're still here in this year, 2023, and the IRS is playing dumb. The FBI is playing dumb. The Clearwater Police is playing corrupt, dumb, and every other last shred of combination. The LAPD, same. Every actual corporate media outlet literally grabs a pen and sticks it inside their eyes and says, where are the adults that suffered under Ron Hubbard? We really need to talk to them. Right, Lawrence Wright? You spoke to how many hundreds of adults to write your book, Hollywood and Scientology and da-da-da-da-da? Well, you know what, Lawrence Wright? How many minors did you talk to? In this year, 2023, how many minors have you taken upon yourself to speak to? Because none of these investigative journalists, guys, give a shred of an F about what happened to kids inside those hotels day in and day out, sanctioned by their own parents. If our parents were not in on it, then what happened to us could have never happened at the scale, at the atrocious, institutionalized, wide-ranging scale that this place definitely has gotten away with committing all these felonies against children, crimes against children that no Scientology parent, although they write their overage and their withholds all the time, write your overage, write your withholds, will start writing your withholds according to all the laws. The very real laws that you have violated against all the crimes y'all as a collective of adults are guilty of. And start coming clean. Clean your hands. Clean them of all the blood of every last minor that you took it upon yourself to recruit. And stop cashing checks. Debbie Cook, stop cashing checks. Marty Rathbun, stop cashing checks. Angie MF Blankenship, stop cashing them. Take yourselves to the nearest police station and start talking to them. Tell them what you saw. Tell them what you did. Tell them who told you to do it. Tell them how long you did it for. Tell them how many children were affected. Start writing the names and the countries of every child y'all recruited together. Start.